Welcome, CityState 2 fans, to CityState 2 with Omnius Prime. Episode 6. Exchange Rate for Dummies. Version 1.2.0D. Now, as you can see, I kind of decided to open up showing my ports, showing my sailboats here, kind of running the gauntlet of the big freighters here. Right now, I'm really focused on trying to control imports and exports. Right now, you can see my ports here are almost at capacity again. Whoops, they're just past capacity. Of course. And now, I was just in my city of Omnius Prime, and I decided to do something different. Rabodi asked me in a chat that if I should weaken my currency. Because yesterday, in my last episode, what I had done is I had decided to buy U.S. dollars to lower my inflation, to lower my costs that way. And then I was thinking today, as I was walking around doing my morning walk, how to be more competitive in the import-export game. So I decided, okay, maybe what I should be doing now is selling U.S. dollars. So I went over into Omnius Prime first, and I sold about $950,000 worth of dollar reserves, and got my my exchange rate, 1 USD equals 3.13 CSD. Yesterday, I think it was somewhere around 1 to 0.98. Okay, so I've really strengthened it up here. It really hasn't done much on my inflation rate, which was 1.5%. Now, I also reduced basic manufacturing and advanced manufacturing down from 6% to 4%. I'm not as profitable somehow in Omnius Prime like I am here in Omnius Secundus. So, my first trick here is, and one thing I noticed is I kind of like to buy and sell dollars like in multiple cities. So I'm going to sell some dollars here, and let's see what it does to the exchange rate, okay? So I'm just going to go ahead and sell all of it. And now I'm back to, okay, 1 equals 5 CSD, so I'm a little over that now. Woo, look at my inflation rate. It hit 4%. See, and this was why, let's take a look and see what's going down now, okay? You see here, the dollar reserves now like a big plus 4.4. Now my USD is equal to 5.13 CSD. Now my imports exports is at 8.5. Yesterday it was at 7.8%. Okay. Notice how now my exchange rate isn't so positive anymore. So now the trade balance, that negative, is trading across here, the trade balance effect. What you have to do is think of like this column over here: exchange rate, imports, exports, ports, airports, trade balance, unemployment, housing demand. These are effects. So the exchange rate here gives an exchange rate effect here of 3.9%. So now this negative balance is carrying over as a bad positive balance. This is what's driving my inflation over here, okay? Is now my trade balance effect is really hurting me because of the exchange rate. So what it's doing is it's really going to put a big cramp on my inflation rate. Now, what I'm hoping is going to happen is that I'm going to reduce imports, and that I'll start building up my demand for the locally made goods. Okay. So now, somehow, this is probably going to take a while. I'm probably going to need to see. What should be is that imports and exports should be limited to port capacity, because otherwise, like now, I've got to build more ports, or hope like heck that my trick to do the exchange rate and cause severe inflation is now going to somehow, well, minus 8.3. I got a little better in that part. Look at that. Now I'm at minus 2 point. Now you see how my CSDs are going up a bit. So I'm not too sure, Rabodi, that this is going to work. Now, what I need to do is I put in some new advanced manufacturing here. What I'm waiting to see is these guys to start building up. See, they're at stage 1 right now. It's kind of like, come on, guys, let's wake up and build some stuff. Now, that's an interesting sign. I wonder what that means. No demand for this asset. Okay, advanced manufacturing. Whoa, look at, whoa. Okay, look at my demand bars for manufacturing. Whoa, they're like, okay, end that experiment, okay? So, so Rabodi, here's the answer to your question. Oh, wait a minute. Ooh, look at that. It dropped my, it did drop my port activity. So it is kind of reducing my imports, but I'm not really seeing the, but see now it's killing my demand here locally for producing stuff. So I'm kind of like really going to have to rethink this. So I'll be back in a moment, and I'm going to build some more stuff and get some more population going and let clock run and see just what the heck's going on. I might have to now, reverse course, fight inflation and take the high currency strength, because it looks like doing the radical make my currency weak. Yeah, that ain't paying off. Here we are back again. I've been experimenting and stuff with the exchange rate, okay? And all of a sudden, if you notice over here, I have basic manufacturing demand. Now, what I did do is come over here, and this primary sector, that's your mining. That's your term for mining, primary sector. So I have an offshore oil platform here that I placed. Trade balance of 676 plus to the good. So now my advanced manufacturing is negative. Now let's just take a quick look here. Now, as you can see, my inflation rate just popped up to 4.6%. I have no dollar reserves. I sold them all, okay? And so my USD now equals 5.96 CSD, okay? High inflation rate. So what it's done is the high inflation rate is bad for advanced manufacturing. And so you can see right here that, yeah, I trashed my advanced manufacturing, increasing my exchange rate, hoping that I can somehow make my products cheaper um, um, and that I'm not importing so much. Okay, let's come over here now. So the effect here is that this negative exchange rate is, I mean, this high exchange rate here is giving a slightly positive effect here instead of a large positive. Okay, it's now being crushed by this imports exports effect of minus 13.3%. Um, and man, I wish I could kind of control that. It just now I'm trying to figure out just how am I going to, you know, drop that back down to zero and stuff again. Because as you can notice, this negative trade balance. Okay. Now here's a little error, Andy, in the third line down. Tariffs, TARIFFS, one R only, one R, and so my little bug report there. So now this negative 3.7% trade balance is coming in here and giving a trade balance effect of +3. So this is where you really it's jacking up the inflation to the bad. Now remember, you know, Andy probably should put right under the USD equals 5.96 CSD is put in effects. I'm going to try to do that and remember to do that when I'm in video editing to show them what I think, because yeah, these are effects over here on the side. So now my unemployment, I'm starting to try to raise my unemployment to see if I can't lower costs and stuff. I'm dropping my GDP per capita. Now it's down to 257. I was up around 270, 274. Trying to come up with some tricks here to get my manufacturing going. So the funny thing is yeah, I found a way to get my basic manufacturing to go to get better, but now it costs me my advanced manufacturing. So speaking of basic manufacturing, so what I'm going to do is I found a nice sweet spot here, oil field 197. So I'm going to drop an oil field in here. The rest here isn't worth building anything on. And as you can see, you could see right here there was an oil patch here, and it doesn't do anything with the gas. I don't know if it does offshore gas, but it does do the offshore oil. And so let's just kind of let clock run a little bit. And as you can see, I'm building up here. The other thing that I'm trying to do is I think I'm going to dumb down my Social Security, health, education, see if I can't maybe dumb down my land value a little bit. You know, although, of course, you know, I just couldn't resist putting my walkways in. And so supposedly, so here I've got this kind of like nice ocean view set up for residential and stuff. And I'm up, oh wow, 1.129 million and just climbing. There my stability is back to 100%. When I sold more dollars, it dropped it down to like 21, but no problem, you know, just keep building and stuff. So I think, I know what I want to talk about and show Andy now. Road connections. Okay, this one's kind of severed. This one is not. And the funny thing is, before I actually deleted this road and rebuilt it short of the edge of the map, and it rebuilt. and you can see how this is coming in from the other map. Um, this really kind of isn't good. Now, notice I put a water pumping station here off of this road that's coming in from the other map. And I think, Andy, that this has got to stop, having this come into the road map and stuff. Because it really screws things up like, oh, where was it? Here, okay? You can see how I deleted the road, built this mining complex here, and then after coming back in, it rebuilt the road. So what I'd rather see is please give us a city map grid, like especially when we're first starting out, where we've got something where we can determine, say, the edge, where the middle is along the edge of the map, and have an idea of map grid. Like, say, every 10 spaces or something, have a map grid line, you know, going both ways. That would really be cool. The other thing that I really liked about the original CityState 1 was that Andy, when we built a road to the edge of the road, it asked us if we wanted to connect to the next city. So we had a yes or no here. And then what it did is if we said yes, it made like a little border control spot. And then what it did is it gave us capacity, okay? Gave us trade capacity. And that's what's missing here because, Andy, how are we going to, you know, one thing, I've tried like the Dickens to sever these road ties and separate the city so I could kill the inner city travel and straighten out my my trade balances. And now I'm almost like, I don't know if I ever want to connect cities again. And that's kind of defeating the purpose of the game. We should want to do that. But it's been very tough now. Let's just see. Boy, look at that, man. I built that new port, and it's already almost, let's just take a look here. Minus 17.3. See, it's kind of like getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And, now my basic manufacturing is kind of gone. And see, I don't know if I've got too much demand, in other words, office and retail, that my manufacturing isn't supplying. Okay, now I see my advanced manufacturing has started to kind of build up. You can see the demand bars are now starting to build up. But what I've been doing now is, building up some population, trying to get my unemployment number up a little higher and stuff. But yeah, boy, look at that. You know, the inflation rate. I know that just can't be good. But now if I go ahead and buy USD, strengthen my currency, then it kind of starts to trash me as far as trade goes. Well, I see my power and water are coming up to 99, so I'm going to have to do a power up. But yeah, Andy's got to really do something on connecting cities together. I'd like to see so that if we connect cities together, we can say yes or no to the city connection, and if later on we want to, we could cut the city connection, just in case things get hairy in inner city travel. I just had a revelation about my park problem. Andy, I've been going crazy laying out the walkways. So I just looked at the pedestrian alley here. It has a capacity of 100, okay? The little fountain has a capacity of 10. This, like the large plaza, which I have basically over on the right here, is 3 by 3. That's 9 spaces. It has a capacity of 90. So in other words, 10 per space. The pedestrian alleys, a capacity of 100. See, that's too much capacity for a mere walkway. Why don't you cut it down capacity 1 so that we can lay walkways and not have it blow up our park capacity score. That I can see right now is what's blowing up my park score of 1. Whoops. See right there, parks 1. I got it up from 0. So I wanted to show you that yeah, pedestrian alley capacity, that's just a killer. Make it 1, okay? So that it's less than a fountain, which is 10. I'd rather, the fountain being a capacity 10, yes. Make this a capacity 1. Let's us lay out the walkways, because I can see that, man, like those walkways times capacity 100. Oh man, my park score must be like unbelievable. Okay, so now I've been busy. I'm getting ready to do a new experiment. Okay, and as you can see, I built a residential area here and ran it into. Now what I did here is I built, okay, an offshore oil platform. It's called primary sector. Look at that, man, 676 plus trade balance. Okay, so woo, it's a big trade balance here. And of course, I had to build myself another port, so now, I've got traffic at 21,388, capacity 22,500. Now, some other developments. Look at my basic manufacturing. I got demand again, okay? And advanced manufacturing. Because what I had done was I sold all my dollar reserves, okay? Now my USD is 5.99 CSD. It's really funny. My friend Rodri, one of his cities was like 8.86 CSD. Whew. And so now my inflation rate is 4.6. Now his inflation rate was kind of low because he had like 17% unemployment at the time, and just like his housing demand was like 0. Okay, so I got a 4.6 inflation rate. So now, what Andy was telling us about in the little messages about high inflation is good for basic industry. Hey, we see it right there, the basic manufacturing. It definitely has picked up. I was making 303 when the tax rate was up at 6%, okay? And now I'm making 1372. The other thing is when it was 6%, my demand was plus 2%. Now at 3%, you can see both manufacturings have a demand of plus 8%. And I'm starting to think about this now. Retail is the big demand, okay? That's the big demand. And the office isn't quite so much. So, in trying to maybe cut down what I'm importing, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 0.5% to my retail. And I had already cut my, let's do this. Let's just go office at 4%, okay? And let's see how we do with our demand. So demand went from plus 8 to plus 7 when I raised the retail up a little bit. My office looks like it's staying at plus 5. So I'm starting to learn that I've got to play with these tax rates now. I don't want to just go wild cutting tax rates here and jack up my retail, okay? Because then that's going to jack up my manufacturing, and if I'm importing, that's going to jack up my port traffic. And then I got to build ports up the wazoo. Okay. So now you see that the buy sell is at like 54,942, which isn't bad because it should right now be like 59,900. So getting closer, but still, it's exchange rate times 10,000. That's what your buy sell amount is. But I'm going to get him to fix it. So now, let's come over here and look at the chart for the economy. Now look at this in the middle here, this minus 17.3% for the import-export effect, Oh man, I'm just going nuts with this stuff. Now here's kind of like this cool flow. So the exchange rate. So I've jacked it up. 1 USD equals 5.99. Now it's basically adding only a plus 0.1%. Okay, this needs to be the exchange rate needs to be higher in order to offset the import-export rate. Okay, and then the port and avenues also need to, because look at this trade balance. Okay, here we have that minus 6.9. So actually this is in the red. This means that I'm importing. Okay, and now it's going to translate down here. The effect of this trade balance is to cause the trade balance effect on my direct trade balance effect on my inflation to the max of 3%, plus 3. And then my unemployment, I'm trying to bring it up a little bit. Here I'm at 7%. Now, if I go back to, Omni Prime and try to cut down business and increase the population, it'll probably just keep sending people over and stuff now. Now it looks like my GDP growth is dropping a little bit. I'm at 255. And that's kind of what I've been trying to do now. I'm changing some of my strategies to see how the effect goes with this. Now, this total growth bonus on basic manufacturing is now down to minus 96% instead of 125. So I'm kind of working on the tax policy is helping here at a plus 8%. Okay. So now what I'm looking at is trying to figure out how do I get this 17.3% reduced so that I'm not doing so much importing. I mean, I did try cutting the dollar rates down, but now it's just killing my inflation. so I can't have that. Okay, so now what I'm going to do to counter that is I'm going to buy some dollars and knock my what if I buy say $1 million worth and knock my exchange rate down here to 3.49. Now my inflation rate's going to go down to 2.5 from 4.6. That's a lot more reasonable. Now look at my exchange rate here. See, it goes up to 11.3. Doesn't quite offset here, okay? But you notice that now the minus 0.9 is coming down to just a 0.9 trade balance effect. And that's what's instantly dropping the inflation. So this is how you're playing with the exchange rate to manipulate pricing and stuff like this. It's starting to kind of be a little bit of fun. But definitely takes a little bit of time learning it, and I'm glad I'm an accountant so I understand this stuff. So now let's run some clock here. Oh wait, yeah, I have one other fix that I'm going to do, and that's the ports. I'm just going to let's just boom. Okay, you want ports? Let's have ports. Now let's jack up port capacity and come back here. See now how that's like a plus 10%. Look at that. You see how it's now plus 1.3 and how I now have that trade balance down. My inflation is way down now, okay? So I've learned how to kind of balance this out. Now what I did do is I built zoned some more. You know, I put in another oil or gas field or whatever that is here, and I zoned manufacturing. Now my basic is kind of dropping, but you notice that my advanced manufacturing is now got a little pickup here. And this is, let's just see what we have here. So now I'm down to 16,439. So I have plenty of excess port capacity, which is helping. Now what I'm trying to do is get my education score down a little bit. In this little neighborhood that I just built right here, I only put in a police station and a hospital. So what I'm trying to do is kind of dumb down my population a little bit here and see what the effect is going to be. Okay, so let's see. Now my capacity is only at 91. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is capacity 86 for the high schools. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is just dumb things down on the population side. Ooh, while I'm up here, one other new fix that Andy made, I kept complaining to him about when I place a building next to a track, what would happen is that it would show up red. It wouldn't let me place it. So I'd either have to place the building back one from the track, or I'd have to bulldoze the track, place the building, and then put the track back in. Now I can place the building right here where I want to. Whoops, I don't want to place that one. But I just wanted to show you that. That's another one of those, you know, Andy's been listening, and he's been, you know, making the game more user-friendly and stuff, and I've been trying to help him. And I hope he's enjoying this video bug report where he can kind of see, okay, here's this guy playing around with my game, and showing people kind of how the new version and the new features kind of change how gameplay is going. So I hope you have enjoyed this segment. I'll be back in a moment to try some other new tricks. Here we go. As you can see from the last segment, I definitely, whoops, let's get some clock running here. Definitely expanded my coastal area and with the ports and stuff, and even built offshore oil drilling. Ooh, a plane crash. I've never seen that before. Is the airport safe? Are runways leading directly into a mountain or worse, into high-rise buildings? The nation's stability has been affected. That's an interesting concept. I guess I'll have to take a look at that. That's something new for me to deal with. Ooh, always something new, okay? So here I am traveling down my newest freeway here. And now let's look at my newest little area right here. I'm going to stop the clock a moment. And so what I did is I filled in this last big square here. Now here, I only, let's see, where did I go? Okay, 2 schools, high school, okay, that's the normal stuff. Oh yeah, and then this one was the one where I built no schools here in the center, so I've got a little bit longer roads here. But now what I'm doing is I like this new road layout system that I've come up with. And now what I'm doing here, I'm doing 7 4x4 industrial buildings, okay? And that's going to be 336. Now I decided to lengthen these two roads for industry and not build retail and office here, because I've got retail up above here, I've got retail down here. So I'm trying to balance my retail and stuff. And as you can see with my block, here I've got 3 residential and 1 business. Okay? I can do 2-2, I can do 3-1. Over here, this area is all industrial. I was trying to, balance up my unemployment rate and stuff. That's always a big challenge. So here, let's get this clock running. And one thing with the new change with the signs of like if you're out of power, or if you're say the road's not connected, that'll sometimes happen. Now I had like all of these showing that plane crash. Man, I'm getting a whole bunch of plane crashes. Now I don't care about my stability hit. It's already back to 94, 95. So now it looks like okay. Okay, I have to get rid of this guy. Boom. Let's get rid of this guy. There we go. Ooh, I tell you what, I wonder what I can build there that'll be safer. Well, let's just, for grins, see if I can't get some retail going in. So let's see, do I get some retail? Oh, it looks like I'm going to get retail. Yes, okay. And office. That might solve the problem. But, okay, so now, yeah, with the flight path. See, here it goes. Now they're showing being not connected to the road. Yes, they are connected to the road. It's kind of like a false positive or a COVID test, okay? It's a false positive. So now, woo, I'm up to 1.3 million. I mean, I started out this segment at 1.26 million. As you can see, it's these places are filling up like hotcakes, man. I've got so much housing demand. So, okay, I've got some stuff building, okay? So now one of the things I was going to say was that like these were all showing up as not connected. I went out of the game so that I could start up my recorder, and then came back in, and all those little annoying signs were gone. And here's one right there. And like I said, do not freak out. Just let clock run. It'll sort itself out. One nice thing is that Andy made kind of like self-repairing buildings. Now, how's my port capacity? Okay, well, now I'm up to almost 21,000. It almost looks like what I'm going to have to do is extend port area and stuff. Unfortunately, I don't have any more oil in the water where I can see, I did that, so I don't have any more oil down here where I can run water like I did there. And just don't have enough room in here. So let's just see. So see, I could place one right here. 78, not worth it. 93, 59. So yeah, it doesn't look like it's worth putting another offshore oil drilling rig in there. So I'm still having fun with balancing out my trade. Let's come back here. What I did is I bought $1 million worth of dollar reserves. I think I did that last time. So now I'm down to 3.51 CSD. What I wanted to do was buy some dollar reserves, reduce my inflation rate, okay, but not jack it up to the max where I'm dropping my inflation down to like 1.5%. My retail now, I raised it 0.5% last time. Now instead of +8 demand, it's only +7. The office, I dropped from like 5% down to 4%. Now instead of a +5, it's got a +7. So I'm trying to build up the office demand right here. Now, let's go take a look at the magic economic screen. Okay. So, I'm not sure why the plus 2.5 CSD is in red, but the +1 CSD GDP per capita is in green. To me, it's kind of like if it's plus, that's bad. So both should be red. The minus here should be green. See now, and then all of a sudden we come down to, we got the minus here for the imports. Now we could have a big plus, but I'm not, this is just baffling me. So, I'm hoping Andy will kind of enlighten me in an email about what his thinking is here. Because whether it's a lot of imports or maybe, so the trade balance is going to, I guess, affect prices. Now, it seems like I guess I can buy stuff cheap, because I was running my economy hot, and I'm actually trying to reduce my GDP per capita and stuff. But by strengthening up my exchange rate a little bit, I'm counterbalancing the import-export negative, and by building some more ports, I got that trade balance to where it's -1.1. Okay, so it's positive 1.1 here for trade balance. And now we're going through unemployment and housing demand. So I've been just kind of trying to use the monetary, okay, power outage. Man, it goes fast. Oops. I used up all of my power. Now I gotta find a place to put a power plant. And I'm just like a little bit off here. Well, you know what? One of the neat things about the way I'm doing my zoning now, okay, I need 2 more buildings, is that I can now place something like the fusion power plant, bang, right there. Okay, and just, whoopsie, tree up a bit. Okay, there's your power. Hold your horses. Oh, now I got to do water. Okay, hold on a second. So now what I ended up doing is here in the water, and this leads me to something else I want to talk to Andy about. Okay, I sure wish that I could use a tab key and be able to place this where I want. Because what's going to happen is I'd like to place it along the street here where it would line up with my other 2 water towers, but here it's grabbing the avenue. And there's no way that, and I'm just going to jack it up to 4 so that I don't have to horse around. Now I got 88%, and I got plenty of water. So let's see, where am I at with port capacity? 21.2, so slowly but surely. See, what I don't know is if I'm importing, exporting, and it makes it really tough to figure out and calculate port trade balance. So I just keep playing around here with the dollar reserves. And as you can see now, I have a lot of advanced manufacturing demand, and of course my basic manufacturing has gone down the tubes because I bought dollars to lower my inflation rate. And if we come over here, now my GDP growth is like 0. And the other thing that I was doing was I was kind of slowing down on my education, so now I only have an 80 score. Health down a little bit, 87. My security still pretty tight at 92. Trying to see if my manufacturing will be bolstered by doing something like that, so that they'll be more prone to buy local. And heck, who knows? I might even decide to just go ahead and put some manufacturing is right up here now that I can zone. Normally I like to reserve this for retail and office, but you know, I just wish I knew whether I needed to build more manufacturing. I mean, because that's what the demand bar says. But I found that the demand bar is suspect. But that's the demand bars in all games, city building games, tend to be suspect. What I liked was in the CityStates one, where he gave us point blank. We knew. And you see how I did a whole bunch of zoning, and it never really dropped my housing demand. My housing demand just stays jacked the whole time. And now that's probably a consequence of having my airport open at full tilt. Now, let's see, 21413. So yeah, without being able to see demand from now, what I don't know is like if we didn't have enough retail or services, would we import that? And if we have an excess of retail and services, would we export that? So there's a lot of things about this new trade that really are going to take a while to figure out. Now, as you can see, it says that it's not connected, but the little sign says it's not connected. But as you can see, this is already, I mean, I just laid this down. It's manufacturing, advanced manufacturing stage 4 of 4. I mean, it just popped up that doggone quick. So that's why I'm saying, you know, when you see these little signs, do not freak out. If it's over a building that's standing and working, you have no problem. And even if it's just a parking lot, it'll rebuild. Like I said, Andy was smart to give us self-repairing buildings, unlike some games where if a building dies, I think it's like City Skyline, you gotta go in and bulldoze it and rezone it. So I think I'm going to come back and wrap this episode up. I've been having a lot of fun with the exchange rate. I don't know. Maybe what I'll do is I'm trying to kind of like the middle here. Ooh, there's a new bug. I built a tool fan reported on the Steam that if you buy dollar reserves and then you start a new city and you have dollar reserves in an old region, and then if you go to build a new nation, the dollar reserves carry over. And then like your money goes away and stuff. So that's a little bug that I had to email to Andy, and of course now I'm reporting it to him on the video. The one thing is that, yeah, while it kind of takes your money, you can use those dollar reserves to then just sell the USD, and now you have CSD money to play with in your city. So you can kind of recover from the problem. So I think I'll come back, do a little wrap up, maybe take another little helicopter ride. In summary, for my exchange rate for Dummies episode, one last little helicopter ride. And here, now you can see a fully built airport. Before the 1.2.0 version, just barely made that. I'm gonna head back to my port area. And of course, let's see if I can actually make a helicopter ride and not crash the thing. Ooh, boy. I must be, better not take a drunk test here. Man, I look like a drunken helicopter pilot. Well, I just want to wrap this up. Here we are at the port area. And this is like my second YouTube video bug report. You know, I can't talk. I can't talk and fly helicopters at one time. But one of the things is you know, I've been sending Andy bug reports, and one day I sent him, like on my third bug report of the day, I started out with the line, "Do you grimace when you see emails from me?" And then it took a little while for Andy to reply when he did a reply, and he said he worries if he doesn't get bug reports. So that was a really excellent reply. Touche, Andy. So I hope that you're enjoying my email and now my video bug reports. And I've decided I already know what I'm going to do for my next episode. So, next episode, taxes, supply, and demand for dummies. So I've got this little area out here. Whoa, why am I not, there we go, turning. There we go. And now, one of the other things is that slums. When you first go into a game, slums will always pop up, and they usually like to pop up, as you can see, this is why I do not play flying games, Roboti. And so the slums will always kind of pop up in the beginning, so usually what I do is I take the old bulldozer and I play search and destroy. You know, that's kind of like reminds me of the Vietnam when we did the search and destroy missions for Charlie. So I've got this area out here that I still have to expand into, and I've hit about over 1.3 million in population. So I hope you'll be back for my next episode of Taxes, Supply, and Demand for Dummies.